So, welcome. So I get to be Patricia Carvelis, who's taken over the seat of Stan Grant on Q&A. So even though we've sent you questions, predict the unpredictable with me, okay? And we will have time if people want to ask questions from the audience as well. So just write anything down. So Elysia, my fellow collie mate.
Kirsten.
I love that you know all my cousins.
I do. Pilatti family is a big family in Collie. Very well known.
Yes. I do like to sometimes think we're a bit of the mafia of Collie. But,
yeah, that's accurate. Very accurate.
There's some good ones and some bad ones in every family. No. So tell us a bit about yourself and your breast cancer experience.
Sure. Well, hi everyone. I'm Elysia. I'm 35 and I have a 20-month-old little girl, Nava, at home, or at daycare today, and a wonderful husband. And I was diagnosed, I'll tell you a bit about my work first. I used to be a newspaper journalist and editor, but the Collie Mail closed down during COVID, so myself and my former boss, we got together and decided to start a new newspaper during COVID, which was a lot of fun. And I don't know whether that's aged me more than the breast cancer or not. But yeah, so I do a little bit of that, on a part-time basis, and I'm a Shire counsellor as well, so that also takes up a bit of my time. But I was diagnosed as stage 4 last April. I was actually pregnant, and I did notice a little lump a couple of days before Nava was born, and my midwife said it was probably just a blocked milk duct. So I was kind of pumping this little, going like getting the massage gun out on this lump that was there for a couple of months, and I didn't realise that, blocked milk ducts clear up within a few days. Unfortunately, and so it wasn't until I started getting really bad back pain that I, a few trips to the hospital, to the doctor, physio, car. It was a saga for about 2 months before an X-ray showed that I had a major spine fracture on my T6, and that was where the cancer had spread. So I was, the cancer was all through my spine, my sternum, my shoulder, my femurs, my spine, obviously. It was kind of everywhere. So it was, stage 4 straight off the bat, which was, a bit of a shock. So that's kind of my...
Thank you. And we are going to come back and delve much deeper into that. But I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your story, because it makes a big difference to everyone. And I'm going to ask you about any questions that people living with stage 4 or metastatic disease get of you look so good.
Oh God, don't even.
No, I'll come back to that. Didth. Now, my mate Didth. You've been around for a very long time, but your breast cancer experience is wide and varied, isn't it, as well?
It was. My first one was when I was 2002, and I was only 34 years old. And it was really a shock. My name is Didth. I'm from Greenbushes. It's an hour from here, to those who doesn't know where Greenbushes is, because some people doesn't know where Greenbushes is. Where the hell is the Greenbushes? And I said, "Are you Australian?" and they said, "Yes, I am." But anyway, I'm from Greenbushes, a small town. I have 2 boys. So when I first diagnosed, my boys was in high school, and one is in first year uni in Perth. So it was really scary for them and for me as well. I'm a widow. I killed my husband. Don't tell the police. But anyway, that was my first, and then after 5 years, actually I asked my surgeon to just take out the other breast. It was in my first. It's an early stage, and I told my surgeon, how about taking all both breasts so that it will be one pain? And he said, no, 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 no. The other one is still good. There's nothing wrong with it. So I said, okay, you're the boss. And after that, I had my mastectomy and my reconstruction straight away. My mastectomy was really great because it taken up. I have my tummy tuck and my breast augmentation as well. So it's one pain. But after 5 years, the other came back. That's my second. So, and I was 49 years old that time. And my the sad thing is, my youngest recalled that his father died on the 49th age of 49, and he told my friend where he lives while I was in the hospital. He said, "You know what, Mrs. Lobis? My dad died when he was 49," and I cried. I really cried because he thought that I'll be dying. So I asked my friend to take because he lives here in Bunbury. He went to BCC when they're in high school. So I said, can you please bring Mark so that he will know that I'm still alive. I'm still picking on him. So anyway, he said, oh, you're okay, Mom? I said, yeah, I'm still alive. You won't get rid of me yet. So after that, I have my reconstruction using the silicone. And after 10 years, I celebrated, I thought I'm free. So I celebrated my 10th year going to Europe with my friends. While I was there, because I'm always bringing that silhouette pink lady, and they come up to me and they said, oh, Didth, I'm a breast cancer too. This one is from Mandurah. And he said, I just finished my chemo and radio. That's why I'm here celebrating. I said, so do I in my 10 years. So I was really up and bubbly over there. And the other one from Geraldton, the same. But during our tour, I noticed that I can feel water coming out from the silicone. But I did not tell anyone because of these two girls. I want them to enjoy the holiday that they really want. I feel sorry for the other lady because the husband just left her. He didn't even help her. So I said, oh, that's not nice. But I just keep my mouth shut and just talk to her. I asked question what her experience is, and I said, you know what, every woman have different experience. So if you need, I think there's a support in Mandurah or in Geraldton, join it because it will help. It helped me when I coming back. That's why I met Roslyn here. And I met Michelle as well. And also, when I heard about BCNA, and they invited me to join the forum, the conference in Melbourne. And after the conference, they invited me to be one of the community liaison. So I said, oh, I might do that. And anyway, I did that. I met lots of beautiful women like us, and I encourage you to join any group near you as well. I believe that Elysia had one in Collie, and the group.
No, that's here in Bunbury.
Oh, is it in Bunbury?
It's the ladies at the back.
Oh,
there,
I thought in Collie.
So tell us about the group, Elysia. Elysia?
So Nancy over there, I put her on the spot. She was instrumental in pushing for the stage 4 metastatic breast cancer support group, and my people, as I like to call them, to people that aren't my people, you know, the non-breast cancerites, they get it. They get what I'm going through, and it's been a lifesaver.
What is it about because people say they get it, and I know that people in this room they get it. Tell me more about that kind of very simple statement of they get it. What do they get?
I think they just get what you're going through. You know, it's, you know, you mentioned before about you look so good, and I get that everywhere I go in Collie, people look at me and they think, oh, you look great. You've still got your hair. You don't look like you've got cancer.
Like the movies,
you mean? The movies, yeah. You know, and that's actually, speaking of movies, don't watch Firefly Lane, the latest season. Ooh, that's a tough one. But yeah, I think they just get what you're going through, and you can ask questions and feel like you're not being judged. And they just understand exactly what you're going through. That just every tough moment. It's kind of hard to describe, really, isn't it? Until I feel like I don't need to describe it to you guys, because you all get it. So
Didth, you talked about the kids and the need for to support children through any diagnosis. What have you found has worked, and also what have you found maybe you did that you wish you hadn't done through your experiences?
Well, I'm glad that I lived my youngest, because my eldest was in Perth already when he was in uni in Murdoch University, and my youngest is in his 11th year in high school. So I left him with a good friend of mine in Lesionot, and I'm glad that I did, because they were just loving, and they care for him as well. And I think the children need support as well as us. I don't have a husband, because that's what I said, I killed him before. But
I feel like the police are going to come in if you say that again.
Well, I always tell them that, are you married? I said, no, I'm a widow because I killed my husband. I said, well, you need to laugh with our life, because if you keep yourself that you're sick, you won't go forward to your life. At the moment, I'm living life to the fullest, doing lots of traveling. And also, my children really push me through. I said, oh, Mom, we don't need your superannuation. You use it. I said, really? Okay, I'm going to Europe.
Exactly. I read a statistic the other day that more than 90% of Australians are dying with their super untouched. And I said the same thing to my parents. Please touch your super. That's your money for you to spend.
I work hard, so I spend that for myself too.
Yeah.
They're more rich than me.
So, Elysia, you got quite the contrast of a toddler, which you can't quite have the same conversation with a toddler. How have you navigated your diagnosis with having a toddler?
to be honest, it's one of those things I take every day. I take every day as it comes, because you can't really plan ahead. You know, you think, oh, yep, I've got treatment on this day, and Nava will go to daycare, and then she'll get gastro, and then I think, oh, now I've got to do something else. So I rely a lot on friends and family. When I first started on the trial that I was just on, I reached out to everyone who was close to me and said, what are your days of availability? Have you got a spare day? Just so I knew where people were at. So I've got a long list of people who are willing to help me out at the drop of the hat, and they do. I'm really lucky to have a very good support network behind me.
And I know this was definitely not in the questions, because navigating well-intentioned friends can be tricky, right? And this is a pretty safe space for us to talk freely about. What is it? And I know that as well for people with early breast cancer, when treatment finishes is when not only does the healthcare system leave you, but so too do your friends and family in terms of,
Yep.
you know, that day-to-day support.
Yeah.
So Didth, how did you manage your friends when you needed them? And how did you also put those boundaries in place when you needed your own space and time?
I only deal with the person who really helped me a lot. But I was still working that time. And luckily, I have a very good principal with St. Bridget's. I was working at school as an admin at St. Bridget's in Bridgetown. And I was really lucky that the staff was very supportive. And when I wasn't, because we don't feel well every day. Sometimes you have your down and lots of ups. But when I don't want to work, and they said, okay, you can just do what you can. Come to work if you feel working. I said, oh, I got lots of work to do. I said, don't worry about work. Someone will do it. I said, can you do it? Can you get someone for a month, please? I said, do you have leave? I said, I think so. I already tee up with the CEO in Perth. I said, oh, okay, you can leave for a month. So I live 6 weeks really. And as for the support body, I just don't want to.
You just told them what to do. You.
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe.
And I put a boundary as well. And also, I did not tell my friends that I was depressed. I know maybe most of you are depressed while you are having your therapy or your surgery. I had a counseling for 18 months, and nobody knows about it because when I'm in the group, I'm bubbly and I always made them laugh. That's my coping mechanism, how to deal with my breast cancer, because it's really a shock in your system, especially when you have mastectomy. You're grieving part of your body. We're not only grieving with the loss of someone, but you love your body too, right? Yeah, and that's how I feel. And when I told them, I said, oh, I'm having counseling for it. Oh, I did not know you're having counseling. Why? I said, I was depressed. You did not ring me up to see how I am. You just waited until I ring you. I said, oh, sorry. Sorry is not enough when you're depressed because you don't want to talk to anyone. And actually, when I was before that. Before I went to my GP, I did not talk to anyone, even my youngest son, for 3 days. I did not even get out from my bed. And I said, oh, this is not me. After 3 days, I said, this is not me. So I get up, have an hour hot shower. After the shower, I rang up my GP. I said, Mick, I really need to see you now. He said, okay, come. So when I went to see him, said, what's wrong, Didth? I said, I think I'm depressed. And I said, why do you think? I said, I cry without any reason at all. I got angry easily. He said, yep, you are. So I said, but I'm very strong, Mick. And he said, Didth, you have a trauma in your life, and this one thing trigger off, and that's it.
And I know Carrie's going to give some very practical steps for us in both sessions around how to deal with this. And I think we as a society are becoming much more alert to trauma and the fact that cancer is a traumatic moment. And I know it's actually Carrie's opening line, so sorry we've stolen it from you, Carrie, but it means that it's very real for us. So Elysia, for you, how do you manage boundaries, people, well-intentioned friends?
I'm probably more opposite experience to Didth. I'm more of an open book. You know, my first session at our support group, I remember bawling my eyes out. One thing was said and that was it. I was off and I just had to let it out. And I've been very open with everyone from the very day dot. I've got a lot of close friends. I'm really fortunate like that, and I think that's one thing that this whole experience made me realise was just how lucky I am that I've got such a great support network. So I started a Facebook page to Elysia's breast cancer journey, and I put all my updates on there so that everyone can see what's happening, because everyone wants to know every little tiny little detail. And I remember I had to have back surgery straight off the bat to fix my back, and that was a really long recovery. And I got out of hospital and I basically had people were saying to my husband, is she up for visitors? What's the go? And he was like, yeah, she needs, I'm a social person. I need people, to come visit me. So we basically had a roster. It was like whoever wants to come see me, just book in a time, like an appointment. So it was 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, so I could have my little nap in between. And every day for months, I had people coming to visit. I think they all thought I was going to croak it, to be honest. So they were all wanting to get their visit in. But I did have lots of people coming and visit. And I had the food train and stuff, which was great. My husband didn't have to worry about cooking dinner, but even now I do struggle a little bit with the information overload, because if you get bad news, you have to kind of digest it yourself, and then you got to tell your husband, and then he digests that with you, and then I tell my parents usually first, and my sisters, and then I kind of move on to my close friends, and everyone wants to know as much as you can, but I find I just have to involve them. If people want to know, I will tell them whatever they want to know, and I just think I'm just grateful to have them in my life, really.
And have you found different people come forward and other people fall away that you maybe didn't expect?
Not really, no. I think everyone's just been great. They've been amazing, really. I don't think there's anyone that's in my life. I've always been the kind of person that if you're not a good friend, I'll just dump you, like a boyfriend. If you're not a good friend, why would I want to?
I need to learn those skills.
There's not enough time in the day for people that don't make you feel good, So if I feel like if it was someone that I didn't really like that much, they were already out of my life anyway. So that means I've got all the good ones left. Yeah. So they've been amazing.
I love that. Let's do a friend clean
You
out.
just
yep.
do away with the bad ones.
Yeah, that's right. Get rid of them.
Yeah, we need the good ones, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And especially now more than ever.
That's right.
You don't have time in your life for
when
anything.
you're in bad way, you know who your friends really are, because that's the one who support you. But those who really you think they're friends, there's no show at all. Not even a call. And you think, oh, they're close to me, but they didn't ring me up. And there's no support. And Elysia's right, especially with the food train as well. We need the help as we can get to that, because we don't like to do cooking for ourselves. No, and sometimes we don't even have any appetites. But if someone is cooking, yes, it's really great.
Just make sure it's not spag bol or lasagna.
No.
Whenever people often ring me for advice, and if a friend or family member has been diagnosed with any kind of cancer, and I'm like, my only advice to you is kids only like their mother's lasagna or spag bowl sauce, so just don't cook it. And make sure you take everything in a throwaway container, so the person receiving the food doesn't have to find out who left the food at their table.
Right. Yeah.
Let's talk about side effects for treatment. And some of the things you might have done in your time to try and manage side effects to treatment.
Yes.
What has worked, what hasn't?
With my first And the second operation that I have, I don't. I'm really lucky. I don't have any chemo. I don't have any radio as well. But I still have pain. I thought I have lymphoma, so I have it checked, and they said, "Oh, you just wear some."
Sleeve, compression
Breast
bandage.
sleeves.
Yeah.
So I did that for quite a while. But with my third bout of cancer, actually, my surgeon for the last two is Christabel Sanders. And when she saw me at Fiona Stanley, because she was in the Fiona now, oh no, in Melbourne, but when I had my third, she was in Fiona. I said, "Oh, Didth, I'm not supposed to see you anymore." I said, "Well, here I am, and I'm going to see you." And after that, she said that I'm lucky that there was water coming out from the silicone, because that's how the second one was the silicone, because there was a cancer cell protruding behind the silicone. So they take it up and they said, "Do you want a reconstruction?" I said, "No." So I'm flat now.
Flat and fabulous.
Yes. So I'm wearing my prosthesis, and I was talking to Kathy. And with the third one, she suggested that I'm going to take letrozole. And I said, "What's the side effect?" And she said, "Thinning of hair, this is what happened. And you have brittle bones, so you need to take calcium tablet." So that's what I'm doing. And every year I have a bone density, and I'm glad that my bones still stronger now because I'm doing lots of walking. Exercise help as well. Every time I have a friend who has surgery with the breast cancer, I always told them, walking first and then do your arm exercise. And I'm just lucky that I don't have the side effect you have, Elysia, because it's only for letrozole. And also letrozole feel you dizzy. I did not do any driving for 2 months because I feel, I might have a accident while driving, because with this letrozole, it feels the dizziness is one of the side effects. So what happened is I went to the chat room in BCNA, and I talked to the ladies if they have if they're taking letrozole and what their side effect is. Because I'm taking that in the morning. So this one of the lady, I forgot her name. He said, "How about if you're going to take that at night time?" So that's what I'm doing now. I'm taking at night time, but I still forgot to take it sometimes.
You'll be right. But how interesting it is that it's other women experiencing it that can share the small tweaks that can help you manage side effects.
It does, and it really helped with the online chat.
Yeah, we did a webcast on side effects, and we had 5,500 people live online. So if side effects is not one of the biggest things people need information about, I'm not sure what is. But the poor clinician, who's a great oncologist and leads the world in treatment, was on the panel with one of our consumer reps, and she just turned to him and said, "How much investment in research is on side effects from the both short term and long term?" And he just was completely blank and said, "I'm guessing from that question, not enough." And she said, "You're damn right, it's not enough." And so now we are doing a lot more around information on side effects, but also advocating to researchers to really look into the side effects, because yes, we can be grateful to live longer lives, but quality of life matters for everyone, and so we've got to make good choices. What about you managing side effects?
Oh, side effects of cancer, I tell you. I feel like it's affected every facet of my life, my entire life. Like whether it's not being able to run, like volleyball, my sex life, like not necessarily in that order. It's definitely affected me a lot. I used to run, 5Ks a day and played volleyball every week. And I can't, I struggle to do those things now. Dealing with them has been a struggle. And I feel like I've kind of run the gauntlet of all of them. Like when I was on Verzenio, I struggled to leave the house because the diarrhea was so bad. So, there were times where I'd get in the car, put the baby in the car, drive down the street, turn around, race back, leave the baby in the car and run inside, like thinking, am I going to make it? So I'm going to Bali next week, and I said to my husband, what's the bet? I either crap myself or spew up somewhere inappropriate on this trip. And he said, just nappies and spew bags. I went, I think I want to wear a nappy. But yeah, it's I feel like you take so much medication, and then you take a tablet for this, you take a tablet for the diarrhea, and then you got to take a tablet for nausea. And, it's just there's so many things. So at least there is things you can take to, manage most of the side effects.
So what are some of the things that have worked for you around managing the side effects?
So the loperamide tablets obviously helped with the diarrhea. So it was always a fine line between not taking too many and getting yourself blocked up, and taking enough so that you don't crap yourself in public. And I've been taking, Malaxalon or something for nausea lately, something like that, or Adanzatron. It's another good one for nausea.
And have you had any peripheral
No, I've been very fortunate. There is ladies in our Bunbury support group who've been affected by that quite badly. But I'm on capecitabine at the moment, and that I know is one of the bad side effects, but I'll only be on that for another week before I start a new trial.
Well, we're always on the hunt out for practical things that people are doing for any side effects, and we know that actually they'll come through our network first and then the researchers will get on board. I remember when I started at BCNA in 2005, none of the clinicians believed in acupuncture, and now they're telling people to have acupuncture, and yet our members were saying, acupuncture's working for me, so I don't really care what anyone says. If it's working, I'll do it. Yeah. And I did hear recently from a group in the US that Voltaren gel seemed to be helping with neuropathy. So they're looking into that in more detail as well. Don't know, but we know frozen peas, putting your hands and feet into frozen peas can also give some relief to people. So we're always on the lookout. So if there's something that is working for you, we want to know about it and share. Carrie? So for people online, Carrie, who you'll hear from in a little while, cooling mats that you get for cats and dogs, that if you put your feet and hands on, that can help too. So what we want is some feedback on that.
Hi, I'm the physio, but for feet, I actually recommend the masseur sandals.
Masseur sandals. Yes, the old 80s masseur sandals.
But they increase blood flow, and from a neuro point of view, although chemotherapy works in a slightly different way, I trialled it with a few patients and they reckon it's cured their feet.
There you go. So
Totally by accident.
So I know that the pharmacies will now be inundated today for masseur sandals is the other one from the physio in the room around.
Driving chemist in Bunbury sells them.
There you go. We're all on our way there. So we are out of time, but I wanted to ask you, Didth, if you wanted to give one final wish, knowledge that you have to share with the room about your experience, what would it be?
Well, with my experience with cancer, I'm really glad that I found BCNA, and also
I didn't even pay her to say that.
No. And they invited me to be at the in the conference. Actually, I attended how many conferences? 5, 6 conferences from Melbourne, Sydney, and Queensland. I was lucky with that. And also, I wish I was able to attend the Field of Women in Melbourne for the first and the second time. But the second time I was really sick. So hopefully this August, yes, I will be there.
It'll be amazing. So that's August 20 at the MCG, but we'll also have ways for people to get involved if they aren't able to travel with us. It is a pretty special moment to walk on the G and stand with the women and men who've all been affected by breast cancer. So we're expecting...
my son and the family will be with me,
Perfect.
so it's really great.
Well, bring the box of tissues is all I'll say, Didth. Elysia, what about for you?
I would just say what I was saying before, Marie Kondo your life. If you don't have friends that you like, find new friends. If you don't like your husband, find a new husband.
Do you mean to say that I'm going to find a husband?
Didth has some tips on that.
Just kill him.
And in terms of your breast cancer, talk to your doctor, and
Yes.
try and find things that work for you. Because if you ask the right questions, you don't want to stay silent. I feel like it's really important to prioritise your health in general, but never more so when you've got a diagnosis of breast cancer. You need to prioritise yourself and your health and put yourself first, really.
I'll just stay with you for 1 second because the team will indulge me for going over time. But we talked about often people living with metastatic disease have really interesting things that people say to them, like, "But you look so good."
Not only with them, but also with the
early. Yeah.
I always say, "Oh, you look great, Didth. You're not sick." I said, "Yeah, I look great, but I'm really sick."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly because we know that often people living with metastatic disease feel more isolated, even within the breast cancer community. What is the advice to us and to the kind of community about the importance of seeing and treating people living with metastatic disease?
I think the most important thing would probably be acknowledging that I have an incurable disease that I'm with for life. Saying things like, "Oh, you fight. What fight who? Am I going to a boxing tournament next week? Like, I'm winning. I'm fighting a battle I can't win." So, I think that whole philosophy that you've got this, don't worry, everything will be okay. Or, if I'm having a moment where I'm break down, because I've broken down to my friends about, all sorts of things. The fact that I can't have children. I'll cry to a friend and say, "Oh, I can't have any more children," and that, that's really hard for me. I wanted 3 kids and I can only have 1, and it's shit. And they'll say, "Oh, but you've got 1 child." I'm like, "Yeah, but I didn't want 1 child. I wanted 3. I'm greedy. I wanted the life that I wanted." So, I know they're trying to reassure me, but it's not helpful. Like, sometimes it's best just to, let me cry on your shoulder and don't tell me that everything's going to be okay, because it's not going to be okay. Like, my life's forever changed. So just acknowledging that and not trying to reassure, I think is for me, it would be key. Yeah.
And I know that Carrie will also help us to kind of deal with that fear. So the fear for the early breast cancer, of the breast cancer coming back, and the fear for those living with metastatic disease for the progression. And that fear is real, it's tangible, and it sits with everyone who is living after a diagnosis. So we're going to tackle that in some of the sessions today as well.
You always have a fear if the cancer will come back in any type of cancer, because even myself now, I always say I'm 3rd time lucky, but behind my head, will it come back?
Yeah.
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 It's
it's about saying, yeah, we know that's going to happen. How do we help? rather
Yes,
than
yeah.
it shouldn't happen or you should move on. That's not helpful for anyone. But please thank Elysia and Didth. Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.